it was a day that I was going to a rehearsal, and I had really not gotten much of anywhere with my vision of turning the violin into a contemporary instrument. So that was something that I was finding pretty hard at the time. And no one was quite getting how this was going to happen until Bob Dylan. And as I say, I see him as a mythological hero who does things on a grand and mythological level. And many of the performers and artists that he has chosen along the way kind of fit into a mythological scheme, a larger scheme. They're not just, people that, he spotted at a, going to a 9-to-5 job. They have something that fits into, the unfolding of an adventure, a grand mythological adventure. And and I also oftentimes think of the fact that he's on Basement Tapes. And in Basement Tapes on the cover, you see him holding a mandolin case like this. So it has crossed my mind that subconsciously he had already envisioned somebody to play violin, but he didn't know who. And he is not somebody that goes, would you please line up 20 violinists and, let me hear them all. That is not how he works. He works on intuition hugely. And he lets the intuition guide him in huge amount of ways. Not only in songwriting, but in interaction and, selecting people. So I think that is part of his process of seeing me walking down the street, very long hair, carrying an instrument, a violin. And, the computer went shh, and something said to him, stop that girl. And, don't let her move until you find out a few things. And that's when, he found out, yes, I play, and yes, I play good. And eventually, he wanted to hear me play that day. And, I pretty much ascertained pretty quickly that that was really Bob Dylan. So I wasn't too hesitant to go with him. And we did go to his studio in the Village. And I think it was my mythological test to rise to the occasion or not. Because it is either you do or you don't. And his test was really interesting because he played only songs that were never recorded, as opposed to saying, maybe she is a Dylan fan and she knows all my songs, and she'll, of course, if she's a good musician, she'll play along pretty easily. So he upped the ante by going, well, let's pick stuff that no one has ever heard, which is what he did. And so he played them on the piano first, and eventually he moved to the guitar. And he really was kind of stony-faced for quite some time. And then a little smile, very little smile appeared, And had a feeling he was somewhat pleased. He played a bit of Isis. He played a bit of One More Cup. He played a bit of Joey. A little bit of Durango. Not the whole song, but just enough to see if I could do it. And then at some point he was happy, satisfied in some way, and he said that, it's time to go, and I'm going out to a club to see Muddy Water. And would you like to go along? I said, sure, I love Muddy Water. So at that point I went just as, you know, somebody to go sit at the bar and listen, you know. I had no idea that was anything else was going to happen. And, you know, that's what I did. I sat at the bar, little violin, and just listened. And, you know, the New York crowd went pretty crazy when they realized he was really in the audience and was going to play. And he did get up and sing with Muddy Water. And, you know, it was huge reception, huge. And after the end of this first song, very surprisingly, he went to the microphone and said, I'd like to introduce you, the audience, to my new violinist. Would you come up? So I was evidently hired already as a result of that afternoon. And that was his announcement to me that I was hired. So I went up and, you know, sat in with Muddy Water. That was another test yet too. And they all gave me a solo, and the whole Muddy Water band was like staring at me, you know. So I had to, you know, pass that little test as well, which I did, and we had great fun afterwards, and went to Brooklyn and hung out all night until dawn with a wonderful black artist, a blues singer named Victoria Spivey.